Okay, good morning. So today we're going to work on some hip mobilization. Hip mobilization can be done at all three levels, sort of standing, kneeling, and reclined. You're going to get different benefits from all three. In standing postures, you're going to get more structural integrity in line with that same sort of mobilization. From kneeling postures, you're going to get a little bit more of that flushing action, and you're also going to get a combination of mobilization and structural integrity. And reclined postures are going to be your pure release, right? That's, being on the floor, being on your back is where you have the most support, the most gravity against you to kind of help you with some of those release points. So I like to start at that middle level so that we can just start warming things up. So I would start from a low lunge position. So, if you need to take a few little cat-cows just to sort of warm up the spine and get the circulation going, never a bad idea. You can also take it up into downward dog, and again, never really worry if your legs are so straight here. It's more about getting that upper back into a nice long line. The legs will follow. Hamstring release takes a lot of time. You can sort of pedal the feet out a little bit. I like to make the shift back and forth between downward dog and plank, which will also get you your proper alignment, knowing where your angles are at. And then let's go ahead and bring it into that first low lunge. So step the right leg forward, left knee drops down. And this is your assessment point, okay? So how does this left quadricep feel? How does this right hamstring feel? First assessment point, getting a sense of, all right, where am I at today? How much can I sink? While still drawing the navel in and lifting the chest up. So keeping that upper body nice and upright, just a little slow movement. Before finally just settling into the posture. I like to keep the back toes under to keep that back leg a little bit more activated. Long, full breath in. Long, full breath out. In. And every time you exhale, you can sort of try to release a little bit more along this quadricep. Sometimes I'll give the joint capsule a little bit of a massage. Bring the hands to the floor, take a nice full breath in, and as you exhale, sit back toward that left heel, flex the right toes. Again, don't worry if this right leg goes completely straight or not. It may or it may not, just sort of depending on your hamstring flexibility. But we're mostly working on creating an activation point on the front side of the leg so that the back will release. So the more you flex the toes, the more relaxation you're going to get in the back of the leg. Just a little half splits. Full long breath in. Full long breath out. If at this point keeping those back toes tucked under is painful for you, just untuck them. Full breath in. Full breath out. And then we're going to flow between these 2 points. So it becomes an inhale to come forward into the lunge, and an exhale to release back into half splits. So full long breath in, full long breath out. Again, those toes can stay tucked under or they can come out just like this. Full long breath in, full long breath out. You can add in your arms if you want to open up your upper body. Full long breath in, full long breath out. Full in, full out. The next time you come forward, a pause, big deep inhale, hands to the mat, come back into your little tabletop position. Again, you can take a few more cat-cows. Just getting that spine back in alignment, and then coming into low lunge on the other side. So bringing the left leg forward again. Side to side, always different. Bodies are not symmetrical. Just like you have a dominant hand, you have a dominant leg. So one hamstring is always going to feel a little tighter than the other. One quadricep is always going to feel a little tighter than the other. So just sort of noticing, how does your body feel on this side? Maybe you had an injury on this side. You know, we are not the same side to side. So just noticing, again, taking those really soft little movements. I hesitate to call this a bounce because that implies a jarring that I'm not really here for. Take a full long breath in and a full long breath out. Always remembering to keep that chest lifted. Full breath in, full breath out. Bring the hands to the floor, take a deep breath in. Exhale, flexing the left toes. Again, I'm not going to worry if this leg ever goes straight or not. Just finding your release on the back side of the leg through a flexion in the front of the foot. Full deep breath in. Full deep breath out. And then you can take that same flow. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Same deal, you can add in the arms if you like. Open up the chest and the shoulders. Full inhale. Full exhale. Full inhale. Full exhale. And then when you come forward, take a few breaths in your low lunge. Deep inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. You come back to your tabletop. Maybe you take the knees apart and sit back and just sort of notice what's changed a little bit. How do your hips feel? You can rock a little side to side. If taking the knees wide apart in child's pose is ever uncomfortable for you, you can always leave them together. Still get a nice stretch for the back here. Full breath in. Full breath out. Kind of moving this up a level. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, press up into downward facing dog. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale this time, step the right foot forward. We'll come into a high lunge. So again, drawing that navel in, trying to squeeze the glutes to point the tailbone down is going to get more stretch along this front quadricep. Deep breath in, deep breath out. From here, we can take another slow motion to sort of open things up. So you inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, come back into your lunge. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, come back into your lunge. Hands could be at the chest, they could be overhead. The next time you come to that upright position, let's open the arms up. Take these back toes, point them toward the front of your mat. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you come into Warrior Two. The reason that I don't come into Warrior Two straight from that lunged position is that I don't like to turn the hip while it's in flexion. It can cause a little bit of grinding in the socket, so I always like to come up into that triangle prep and then come back into Warrior Two. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. We can take that same action here. You inhale, you straighten the leg. You exhale and you bend. Inhale and straighten the leg. Exhale and you bend. Inhale, straighten the leg. Repivot that back foot. Come back into your lunge on the exhale. Hands to the mat. Inhale. Press it up. Downward facing dog. Take a few petals. See how things are feeling. And then we move to the other side. Inhale, that left leg comes forward. You come up into your high lunge here, you assess. And again, it's just like the other side. You want to draw the navel in, squeeze the glutes, point the tailbone down. Try to get this arch out of your low back. I have a sway back. A lot of people do. Again, it's just that action of a little bit of a pelvic tilt. Hands can come to the heart. Arms can be overhead. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Big deep breath in. Big deep breath out. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Back toes pivot, arms come out. Exhale, bend into warrior two. You can take a few static breaths in warrior two, just like this. And then again, we can take that little flow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Back toes pivot. Exhale to your lunge. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, downward facing dog. Again, a little pedal of the feet. Work it out. And then maybe this time find a static downward facing dog. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Full breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Full breath in. And then inhale, step that right leg forward again. Inhale, you come up back into that lunge. Straighten the leg. Exhale, open out, warrior two. And this time we'll come into extended side angle. For extended side angle, there are a lot of levels. You can bring a block under your hand here. You can simply bring the elbow to the thigh. If you have the mobility to bring the hand all the way to the floor, by all means go for it. But if it means this back hip's going to lift up, you lose the integrity of the posture. So maybe it's here today. This arm can be overhead. Maybe that hand's at a block. Maybe you're all the way down at the floor. Full breath in. Full breath out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, come back into warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Pivot on the toes. Deep breath in. This time we're going to bring both hands to the mat. Again, if you can't bring the hands all the way to the mat, get a block under them. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. This is a little prep for lizard. Full breath in. Full breath out. Let's drop the back knee down and practice that little lizard. So this is a good place to shift a little side to side. Get some mobility across the front side of that left hip socket and the back side of the right. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you have the mobility, you can bring your forearms to a block or to the mat. And again, a little rocking side to side. Sometimes feels good. A little churning of the joint. Full breath in. Full breath out. If you want to make this into a strength posture, you tuck the back toes under, you activate the back leg. Full inhale. Full exhale. You can also do a little work from here. Flexing the toe, sort of pointing it, shifting your weight back and forth. And then eventually you drop that back knee down. You plant your hands, you come on back up. Full breath in. Exhale, right leg steps back. Inhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale, left leg comes forward. You inhale, come up into your lunge. Exhale here. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, open out, warrior two. Deep breath in. Exhale, take an extended side angle on this time. This side. Now again, side to side can always be different. You may find that you have more mobility on one side than the other. Totally fine. Go for it. See how it feels. Full breath in. Full breath out. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Inhale, you return to warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Pivot your back toes. Come into your lunge. This time the hands come inside the left foot. It can move out a little bit. Take a few deep breaths here. And eventually you drop the back knee down. We're here in our sort of lizard prep. Again, you can shift the weight a little side to side, a little back and forth. Circular motion. It's really subtle. Just a really slight joint churn to get those attachment points a little bit more pliable. And again, if you have the mobility, if it's not going to bother you, you can always bring the forearms down to a block, to the mat. Shift your weight here. If you want to activate the back leg, activate the back leg. It becomes more of a strength posture in the back. It can help deepen this stretch along the hamstring. The hands come to the mat, the knee comes back down. Full breath in. Exhale. Tabletop. Inhale. Downward facing dog. We see how we feel. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Slowly start to walk the feet toward the hands. Take a slight bend in the knee if you like. Grab onto opposite elbows. Let the back release. Sway a little side to side. This is another place where you can sort of bend one leg and straighten the other. Bend one leg and straighten the other. Get that nice hamstring release. Plant the hands to the mat. Deep, long breath in. Make the back long. Deep, long breath out here with the back stretching forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Full breath in. Exhale, hands to the heart. We pivot toward the front of the mat. Step to one side of your mat. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the arms out. Bring the arms and the legs out. So we're in a nice wide V here. Everybody's sort of length here is going to be a little bit different. Go where it is comfortable, where you're not getting any pain here. Sometimes if people go too wide, they get a little pain there. Their feet get unstable too. So toes are pointed forward to start with. If you don't have any issues with sciatica, you can pigeon them in a little bit. If you have any issues with sciatica, please don't do that. That will aggravate your sciatic nerve. So I do, so I keep my toes pointed straight forward. You take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. One more full inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to bend forward. As you bend forward, the hands can either come to the floor in front of you. They can walk out a little bit. Or the forearms can come all the way to the mat. It really depends, again, on your hamstring flexibility, on your back mobility, because you don't want to hunch the back and round it, right? If you were looking at me from the side, my back is still nice and flat, right? I'm keeping it nice and active and long. I'm not letting it round in. I don't want to bulge out my discs in the back. That's never really a great idea. So we keep the back nice and long with a chest that is stretching forward. Full breath in. Full breath out. You can lengthen the arms. Full breath in. Full breath out. The weight here will shift forward into your toes, because the only way that hamstrings release is if quadriceps engage, right? You need the muscle on the front side of the leg to activate in order for the one on the back to release. So get that weight forward as you come into your fold. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you've walked the hands out, they come back in. Full breath in. Full breath out. You can do one of two things here. You can bring the arms out wide, or you can bring the hands to the hips. You inhale, and you come all the way to standing. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So you're here. Now we're going to kick the heels in, turn the toes out, and work in goddess. So you take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, it's a wide sort of sumo squat stance. I don't want the knees to be tracking forward. I want them to be pushed back, so I might push a little back on my inner thighs as I lift my chest up. It may also mean turning your toes a little bit more forward. Everybody's alignment here is going to be a little bit different. Ultimately, yes, our goal is to get the thighs perfectly parallel to the floor. If that doesn't happen today, it is not the end of the world. So it's a deep breath in. As we exhale, the release happens. Inhale. Exhale. Arms can take a lot of positions here. They can be at the heart. They can be sort of cactus style. Exhale. Some people like to stretch, so they'll go inhale, nice and long, everything sort of in a star pose. Exhale, it all comes back to this alignment. Full breath in, full breath out. Full breath in, full breath out. I like this stretch a lot, especially if you've got tight shoulders. Deep breath in, exhale, drop that left shoulder down and in. This also gives you an opportunity to push that left thigh back. Gives you a little bit of a leverage point. So deep breath in, you come up to center. Deep breath out, push that thigh back as the shoulder comes forward. So a nice stretch for the upper back and helps you open the inner thigh. Full breath in, exhale, shoulder forward, thigh back. Come back to center. Inhale, come all the way up. Heel toe the feet in to where your squat stance would be, because that's what we're going to do next. Malasana, garland pose. Might need a block for this, might not. Might need a couple of blocks for it, might not. Really just sort of, again, depends on your mobility. What I want is for your heels to be down and for you to feel like you can relax and release. And so if you take your nice breath here and you come into this nice low squat and you're way forward on your toes, or you feel really wobbly, or you just can't get down far enough that you can relax into the heels, that's when you bring a block, a stack of books, a stack of blankets, something under your hips, so that you can sit nice and upright. You're not hunched forward, you're not feeling pain in either the knees or the hips. So you're nice and tall. From the side, it would look something like this. Nice straight back. All of these alignment points stay the same, whether you are up on blocks or sitting in this squat position. You should be able to lift your toes up. They should be nice and light. The thickest bone in your foot is your heel bone. So consider that when you think about where you're bearing your weight. That's where we're designed to bear our weight. So tailbone is sinking low, chest is lifting up, body is high. Full breath in, full breath out. We're using the elbows against the inner thighs here to open them more. The alignment of your toes is different, again, depending on your structure. Some people's toes will point a little bit more forward. Some people's will point a little bit more out. You want the knees to try to track over the toes. Full breath in. Full breath out. And again, this should be a place where you can relax. If you're very, very tense in this position, you're not going to get much release in the hips, right? Because a body that is feeling tension is going to grip. It's not going to relax. So don't think that you're doing yourself a disservice by supporting the posture with some blocks. You're actually ultimately going to end up doing a lot more for yourself if you can allow the body to relax and release. So given that mobility is what we're after today, that would be my recommendation. Full inhale, full exhale. It is time now to come to the floor. Okay, so we have been at the standing level, we have been at the kneeling level, and now we're going to come down to the floor and sort of get those deeper releases. So come down, shake out your legs a little bit, maybe flex and point the feet a few times. Okay. And then forward. We'll come into just a little bit of cobbler's pose. So your feet are together. Some people's feet may be more forward. Some people will have their feet very close into them. If your knees are way up in your chest the way that mine are, you can always bring a block under your hips. It will give you a little bit more release. If you ever have seen videos of me singing on YouTube, 9 times out of 10 I'm sitting up on a block like this. Because it lets my back get longer, I breathe better, and then I get a little bit more release in my hips too. So it's a full breath in, And exhale, I might lean a little bit forward. If it feels good. Does it feel good on the groin muscle? Does it feel good on the hip flexors? Full breath in. Full breath out. There's no sense in doing things when you're trying to release the hips that are going to cause tension. If it causes tension in your body, we've lost the plot. Full breath in. Full breath out. If you have lateral knee pain, this is one to watch for. You may need to straighten out the legs a little bit. You may need to avoid it. If it causes pain in the knees, it's not worth it. This is a hinge joint. This is not meant to go side to side. So if the hips aren't open enough for you to lean forward or you to bring your feet together like this, you wait, you're patient. The other things that you're working on in this sequence are going to assist that. As the hips get more open, the knees aren't going to take the pressure. One of the things you can do to sort of work to that place, a lot of people really love pigeon pose, and I do too. However, if you have any sort of lateral knee pain, it can be really inaccessible or really, really painful. So there's a way to do it reclined that I really, really like. So we're going to head down onto the back. I like to take this opportunity to really lay out my spine. So I'm going to tuck my navel in, round my shoulders forward, and I'm going to try to articulate the back down. I'm going to try to get each vertebra to land individually. Very slowly, rolling out the spine. Take a nice stretch overhead. Full body stretch. Long exhale. Right? Because again, what we're after here is release. So the more we can relax, the better this is going to go. We bend the knees like we're going to take a bridge pose. Cross the right leg over the left and just sort of let the hip open to its own degree. So this is how you do reclined pigeon. This may be where you're at today. This may be enough of a stretch on the inside of this thigh. If you need a little more, you take your hands or you take a strap, you wrap them around your left thigh or your left knee. Either will work. It's really, again, how long are your arms? How long are your legs? What can you grab? Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you can pull that left knee in towards you. You can simultaneously use one hand to do this and press the right inner thigh out. Again, this allows you to not be putting pressure on the knee on the floor, but there's still a bend happening here, so you've got to pay attention. If you start to feel any tightness or any tension here, then it's time to back off. The hip will open eventually. You won't feel that pain. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Again, this is a good place to rock a little side to side on your back. Full breath in. Exhale, this foot comes down, this one unwraps. Windshield wiper the legs side to side a little bit. Get everything loose and comfortable. Then we cross the left leg over the right. So for me, this one is the tighter one. I have a really hard time releasing my left hip. So I like to sit here and just sort of let it flop a little, let it relax a little. Sometimes this is where I stay for me on this side. Sometimes I have a little bit more mobility and I can bring that right leg in. But I start to feel some tension in my left knee pretty quickly on this side. So this is about all I'm going to do. Maybe I rock a little side to side. Enjoy that massage for the low back. Full breath in. Full breath out. Right foot comes down, legs unwrap, and we let them fall side to side. Once again. For the next little stretch, you might need a strap. You can also use a TheraBand, a towel, anything you have that makes your arms long enough to grab your foot. You may not need anything at all. Some people have the mobility to do this. I'm going to use one of my lifting straps today. So come down off the back, the right leg comes up. We're going to loop that strap around the foot. Do not worry if your leg is completely straight. Again, hamstrings are tight. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Just kind of, again, rocking in the socket a little bit, seeing how the mobility feels. Full breath in. As you exhale, you're going to start to let that right leg fall out to the side. Full breath in. Full breath out. How do you know where to stop? Well, if your left hip starts to come up off the ground, you stop. That's your end point. Maybe that's here today. Maybe you can come all the way to the floor. Some days I can, some days I cannot. Full breath in. Full breath out. Again, never a bad idea to support yourself. Ultimately, you'll get more release on the inside of that thigh if the outside of this leg can relax. So if you want to stack up some books, if you want to stack up some plates from your barbell, if you've got a couple of sandbags you can throw under there, go ahead and do it, because the more you support yourself in restorative postures, the more release that you get. Full breath in. Full breath out. As you inhale, you bring it up to center. Doing this a much more subtle stretch. So bring your right hand out to the right. You take a deep breath in. As you exhale, you're only going to bring this right leg across your body as much as like the back of your, the right side of your back isn't going to come up off the ground and twist. Keep it grounded. So it's going to be a really subtle stretch. You're going to feel it a lot along the outside of your right leg. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Maybe it relaxes a little bit more. You'll notice after you take a few exhales, the central nervous system starts to calm down a little. And then you inhale and you come back to center. All right. All things being equal, we must do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take my block and move it before I do anything. Take a deep breath in. I like to bring that arm out just to keep me honest, because if that shoulder starts to come up off the ground, I know that my lower body's probably lifting too. This is just, it's a really nice growing stretch. And again, the more that you support that left leg, the better off it's going to be. If it's hanging in the air, you have to use your structure and your muscles to hold it there. So you're not going to get release. The more you support it on the outside of that left leg, the more release you get along the inside of the groin. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, you bring it up to center, and again the stretch becomes more subtle on this side. Deep breath in. Exhale, it comes across the body. That is a very intense stretch on the outside of my left leg, and I even feel this one in the calf a lot. Full breath in. Full breath out. All of this is so good for squat mobility. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhaling back to center. Undo your strap. Let your leg come down. And again, you can bend the knees and sort of windshield wiper those legs side to side. Always twisting after this sort of thing is a good way to release the low back. So the final thing that we're going to do is a restorative posture that I would recommend you stay in for a little bit of time, as it does take some time to set up. So we're going to take reclined cobbler's pose. So just like you were sitting here with your feet together and your knees open, we're going to do that on the back. But again, since what we're after is release, we're going to support this in two ways. And it may take you some time to figure out what works for you. That's why I have sandbags sitting here. I have some weight plates sitting here. We're going to see what works best today. I want to support the outside of the thighs because I know that my knees aren't going to come all the way to the ground, and I'm going to be floating in the air, which requires me to use a little tension on the inner thigh. Don't want that. I want to release. So I'm going to set up my blocks so my thighs have a place to rest. But I also want to encourage that stretch on the inside of the thighs, so I want to get some weight there. I've used my sandbags. Today I'm going to use two 25-pound plates. So, grab these guys. You can use something very light too, and it will be very, very effective. I've used sandbags, I've used 10-pound plates, I've used books even. If you just don't want anything heavy, if you know you've already got some issues maybe in the knee, it's not worth it. Alright, so I'm going to come down onto my back, I'm going to open one leg. I'm going to get my weight there. This can be a little awkward with plates. Get my block under my thigh. Bring my weight to the inside of the leg. You really don't need a lot. 25 pounds is pretty intense for me. The sandbags, since they're softer, you can get away with something a little bit heavier. But you've got some weight on the inside of the thigh to encourage the stretch, but you have something supporting the outside of the leg so the knee's not taking so much pressure. And then once you have it set up, because like I said, it takes a little time, bring your arms out to the side, flip your palms up. That's a really good signal to the central nervous system that you're here to relax, you're here to release. Full inhales, long exhales. And I'd stay in this one. I like to stay here for 3 to 5 minutes. Take my time. Full inhales, full exhales. If you want to make that connection with your breath here, one hand to the belly, the other to the chest. You feel yourself breathe in. Fill the belly, fill the chest, and as it comes out, navel sinks to spine, chest relaxes. So after you've taken your few minutes to release here, you can go ahead and remove your weight. Try to do it gently. And then give your legs an assist. They have been kind of weighted down, so it's always a good idea to give them a little bit of an assist to come back together. Remove your blocks out to the side, and as we always end, we take the most receptive of postures. Let your feet fall out to the side, let your palms float above, everything relaxes. You are in Savasana, corpse pose, symbolizing the death of your practice, the end of this moment. Take 2 to 3 minutes in your Savasana. And then when you're coming out of Savasana, come out of it with care, right? You're rebirthing yourself into the day, essentially. You know, corpse pose is so symbolic of the nothingness, the effortlessness. And now it's coming back out into life, coming back out into the day, symbolizing the end of this physical practice, the birth of what is next. So you come out slowly, very slowly. Maybe you curl to one side, you press yourself up. Take a moment upright. Might actually feel good to sit cross-legged for once. Sometimes, after a lot of hip opening, this is finally a comfortable seat. Full breath in. Full breath out. I salute the light within your eyes where the whole universe dwells. When you are at that center within you and I am at that place within me, we shall be one. Have an excellent day. Namaste.